Hello, welcome to Enterprising People 702 from fabulous Las Vegas. We are so excited that we are going to have a wonderful author on today, life and business coach. But before we get started, we have to give a shout out to our sponsor, SilverStateSmiles.com, best dentist in Las Vegas, voted by the Review Journal newspaper. Now, without any further ado, I just want to read a little bit about our speaker today. He has done so many things and still continuing to do things. Bestseller author Scott Abbott is the founder and CEO of BOS-UP Coaching Solution and Academy, Strategos, and Phase 4 Investments. With more than 30 years of experience launching, scaling, advising, and acquiring companies, Abbott has partnered with startups, global brands, and Fortune 1000 firms, helping teams generate billions in revenue and navigate both breakthroughs and setbacks. A finalist for the E&Y Technology Entrepreneur of the Year and former entrepreneur in residence at Indiana University Keller School of Business. He is also a Fast Company executive board member and top-rated podcast host and author of 3 best-selling books. So, Scott, how are you doing?
Kim, that was, so nice of you to say all those wonderful. I've never heard any of that before. Where'd you get that from?
I don't know. Just a little birdie.
Are you using AI these days?
I don't know if I'm AI. Sometimes.
Just like we asked you to say it all. Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having the show and for having me on today.
Yes. Again, your book, Boss Up Moments, Field Guide to Prosper in Business, Work, and Life. And I think that's what everyone is hoping to become a boss, hoping to become someone that can actually survive, especially in today's economy and everything that is going on. But let's start with just some of your backstory. I just wanted to get a little bit more about Scott Abbott.
Well, it's not all that exciting. Actually, I've had a very, if I could say so myself, pretty bountiful life. I live currently in central Indiana, just north of Indianapolis. Was born in Fort Wayne, Indiana, but between birth and now, I was blessed to work and live all over the world. I grew up overseas in formative years, about a dozen years in a blend of London, Paris, Madrid. Came back to the States, went to school at Minnesota and DePaul, and did some kooky things in my early days. But around my mid-20s, I started my first company right after Al Gore invented the internet. Insert joke line, laugh track here. Me and my friends at IBM started doing this business thing online and created a lot of the first iterations of .com companies and e-commerce and e-business. Did that for about a decade, then went to work for a large $32 billion company. So I went from startup, entrepreneur, venture capital back to a Fortune 125, 135 company. Had a lot of fun. Went there to become an intrapreneur to complement my entrepreneur days. And then about 15 years ago, I started Strategos and now BOS-UP, which basically is helping startups and small, mid companies learn and implement what we call the essential concepts, tools, and disciplines specific to a business operating system. So our BOSS is a BOS minus the second S, but yes, I'm all for helping people become great bosses. But we're all about helping companies implement tailored business operating solutions using coaching, AI, and technology. And ideally, by doing that for the company, they also become better, not just at work, but in life. That's our charter. It's our passion. It's what we're all about.
Yeah. But will you agree that we're in a moment of change and people really need to kind of pull up their pants, my dad used to say. You better get, roll up those sleeves because it's a time for you truly to boss up.
Yeah. So we actually have some fun with that, right? The difference between BOS, business operating system, and BOSS. And so in the BOS-UP world, we have what we call the Solution Academy. The Academy is our online portal. We've got about 75 coaches around the world who go there to learn, to leverage, to download materials, resources. Then we've got our 2 books, to your point about your dad. This is really the engineering, the strategy, the framework, the mechanics to build, run, and scale. And you can see it's a very design-friendly, fun, interactive type. We have QR codes, AI. So that's about kind of like the structure, the mechanics, and this is all around the people. So this is the new book that just came out, very visual, 40 moments, and it's really, Kim, to your point, it's around helping people from more of an EQ element and perspective than an IQ. So helping to set good boundaries, overcome conflict, how to have more confidence, how to deal with, to your point, a lot of the dynamics of today that are kind of, touchy-feely, or they're not as tangible. And so together with BOS-UP and the moments, we hope we're helping to create not only good companies that know how to build, run, and scale, but we're helping the humans be better humans at the same time.
Yeah, and that's a key word, humans, because in the age of AI and people thinking, I am losing. I know that here in Las Vegas, I think it was 45,000 people that recently lost their jobs in the hotel and casino industry because of technology. And I was listening to some of your YouTube interviews, and you were talking about the trades and other things that maybe people really need to think about, to study on, because it's just a matter of survival because of technology.
Yeah. Yeah, so with any tech, there's good and bad, and certainly with AI, the drive to efficiency and increased productivity, and the ability now instantaneously to have smarts and awareness and insight and abilities that we never had before. So yes, there is a very dramatic shift in the labor market, no doubt about it. And I actually think long-term hotels, hospitality, resorts are going to do very well for other reasons other than AI, but certainly on the corporate business level, there's a lot of changes in the workforce. And yeah, I happen to think that if you've got one of those jobs that is being changed, it's a nice way for me to say may no longer be there. I think the trades. I think there's a lot of opportunity when it comes to building and maintenance and HVAC and plumbing and roofing, and just helping, let's just call it the infrastructure of our country, get better. Frankly, we're behind in a lot of ways. So I think there's three, sectors that actually are going to really actually possibly even thrive through AI. It's trades and helping physical things be better. I actually do believe hospitality is going to have a really good boom for other reasons. And then last but not least is healthcare. And lifelong longevity, if you will, right? Not just medicines and pharmaceuticals, but holistic and mindsets, and to your credit in your show, helping people think and see things differently, not just necessarily, medicate their way to it, right? To enhance their way of looking at things and dealing with things and making things.
Right. And I really believe that we probably are leading more into a merchant mentality where people know, and when you think about just the labor force and people, especially here in Las Vegas, people are our service industry. So many people that are lower income to medium income, those are the kind of jobs that they do. But again, we have this competitive thing called AI and technology that seems to be kind of taking over people's positioning. All of it, I think the whole environment is one that has people second guessing if they'll be able to send their child to college, if they'll be able to one day buy a home. And primarily when I do my shows, both my radio and my podcast, I'm talking to the micropreneur, the person just trying to boss up, so to speak, and make it in today's society. But you are really marveled as a wonderful coach to motivate people to, let's say, do the right thing, as Spike Lee would say. Yeah. What would you say to those people that might not have that college education, were just coming from the labor force, or, and they don't know because of the political ramifications of everything that's going on? How does one really navigate? Like, what would you say as a coach?
Yeah, so a couple of things. And there's a lot of, I'm not claiming I have the answer or the right answer. I just have maybe a perspective and a thought or two. So I think schooling of itself is changing dramatically. You know, the expense, the investment, the time to go to college, as you said, I think that's almost a paradigm and a paradox. I use both of those that I do think is shifting fairly radically for reasons that are good and not so good, just like AI. I try to coach people to embrace what I call the neither a cynic nor an optimist be. Try to figure out how to be a positive pragmatist. Let's not fight it, but let's not also let it get the better of us. So with AI, if you don't literally have your thumbprints and your DNA and your almost your brand and your integrity and your commitment to say, hey, I'm not letting anything in the world without me approving it. You know, AI should be an ally, a co-pilot, an assistant. It should never lead, and you should never let it ultimately designate or send without your approval what's going on. And so I think back to education and learning, and we just came out with a new program called the BOS-UP Moments L&D Experience. So if you're really not ready to put in a new business operating system or bring structure and alignment into your organization, you're just an individual looking to level up your confidence, your awareness in terms of how to build, run, and scale. That's what Moments is all about. And so I think there is a lot of good information out there in the world that people can leverage almost free. Cost effectively, affordably. I think, to your point, there's a lot of historical realities that certain education was inaccessible. It wasn't affordable. We actually like to think we're democratizing the ability for people to learn, a framework and an approach to build, run, and scale not just a company, Kim, but to have a better life. And believe it or not, counterintuitively, to do that, you have to embrace systemization. And sure, there's a lot of systems that aren't fair or good, but remember, people make of what they are, not the systems in themselves. So back to startups and solopreneurs and early stage companies, it's really important for them to respect the requirements that they need to generate profitable income, right? Don't go spend a bunch of money and do things irrespective of the numbers and the follow through and the work that needs to take place. And so that's my big motivator these days, is to make sure, because I made a lot of mistakes as an entrepreneur. I failed. I've done a lot of dumb things and lost more than I've won, very sincerely. But I have learned a few things that I try to share with others so that they don't make as many mistakes as I made. But yeah, I think they just need to be intelligent about the resources that are out there and check their ego and just say, hey, there's probably additional people and thoughts and approaches I should learn from, so I shouldn't just do it all by my own.
Yeah.
But, just make it up as you go along. Just do it might work for Nike, but it doesn't work necessarily to build a good business.
Yeah, certainly. But big business has oftentimes even thrived because they did business with smaller businesses. But because now we look at big businesses basically relying a lot on technology, do you think there will be some kind of replacement? I know you said the people first, then comes technology just to enhance your talents, but do you believe that AI and these kind of things big business will turn to, instead of saying, okay, no, we're going to deal with so many subcontractors and contractors, we're going to reach out because this is really what is going to help our business grow, and we're going to help smaller businesses grow?
Yeah, I think it depends is my answer. I think if you've got businesses that really are forced to be lean and efficiency and productivity and they're already at very small margins, right? They have to harness automation and technology and AI. Again, you talk about retail and hospitality and everything from casinos to restaurants, right? I don't want to get my cheeseburger delivered from a robot. Ideally, now there may be people that do. Right? AI doesn't, make things. We talked earlier about the humanization. So I think we're going to adjust. There's no doubt about it. I think there's a lot of companies that will embrace the right use of AI and will be better for it. I think the criteria of employment, I actually do believe, not tomorrow per se, but I think in time, even some of the classically considered the jobs that may not have the classic higher compensation, I do think the compensation is going to rise. I think there's a lot of, again, I know that's not what the show's about, but I do think that the transition and coming into the new AI economy, if you will, I actually think there is employment opportunity. Now, do we have to recalibrate? Maybe I don't want to go all Dave Ramsey here, but are there several million humans that are probably no longer going to have those jobs again that were making good money, and now they may need to just tighten their belt and look at the world a little differently. But the good news is, I do believe this, is that they might realize that they thought they had a nice job sitting behind a desk processing data and numbers and basically being a glorified computer, right? And now they get to go work with their hands and get into the world and physically build things and serve and be of service. And so I think there's going to be a transition. And even back to schools, we work with a lot of colleges. You mentioned earlier Indiana University,
Yes.
and we're helping their classic academics actually get into the world and take the classroom and the hallowed halls of academia and apply it to actual companies, because there's a lot of companies that can't take off time or invest to go get a MBA or go back to school. So we got to figure out how to take some of that good academic knowledge and bring it into the market. And then ideally, hopefully, a lot of the people out there will also realize that, while there may be some challenges with AI, there's also opportunities.
Okay. I was.
It's not, Kim. It's not going anywhere, right? So
It's not going. It's already here. It's here now.
well, and I was there during the whole .com internet era when it came in, and I just tell you, not only is it not going anywhere, it's going exponentially more
Fast.
inclusive to the world. And so you got to control your destiny. You got to kind of just take it, and first things first is again, I said it earlier, don't let it take you. You got to take it, and it starts with that mindset and that ability to say, hey, I'm gonna move forward. I'm not gonna be distracted and let this thing called AI get the better of me. No.
Yeah. And you mentioned a lot of times that the confidence, and I know many people because I used to assist people with setting up their businesses, and I call it the U factor. I had to go all the way, because some of those things that my father gave me, and my mother, they were both entrepreneurs. I grew up with it, but I find that other people might not have had that kind of exposure. So I know those initial ingredients of really surviving and being prosperous is the confidence. And I was looking online, and you said that at one time you lost everything and you had to come back. And I was just wondering that your journey to come back financially, business owner, author, best-selling author, how did that happen? Because sometimes a lot of people are down and out because of tech. They're down and out right now because they don't have the fundamentals of what other people are looking for so that they can be employed or they can start a business. But can you share with us your recipe for getting back up and just thriving?
Yeah, I had some, I did really well in my early 20s, too well, got to my head. And then I went out to LA with, a suitcase full of dreams and literally a big old truck of furnishings. And I thought it would continue, and it didn't. Did quite the opposite, as during the third to last recession. And I went broke. In fact, I squatted in a place with no rent or heat. And then I moved back to Indiana, humble hat in hand, and I lived in a motel that had the bed full out of the wall, and literally, pilfered food from the commissary, and did that for about 4 or 5 months. And thankfully, to just good support from family. I'm going to give a shout out to Tony Robbins. Believe it or not, I was down on my luck and didn't have a lot of money, but this is the old days. I actually bought the cassette series, and I do believe in the power of motivation, inspiration. But that's fleeting, and that's why you need systems and structure and guardrails and boundaries and physical assets, right? And so I was fortunate. I was blessed. There's no doubt about it. But it's a lesson and experience that I'll never lose. Back to, we consider ourselves at BOS-UP a social enterprise. So I believe in humanitarian capitalism. I think we should help others. I think this concept of pull yourself up by the bootstraps is a little silly, because there are places that don't have boots, so how do you pull them up? So I think it's a blend. I think it's a blend of this is I joke I had a midlife crisis. I didn't get a Porsche or buy a condo in Aspen. I started getting tattoos and started a podcast, Kim, about 6 years ago. And this one is grace and grit forever. And so just a gentle reminder that, stay humble, but stay poised. And again, find this blend of literal, physical, commitment devices, I call them, and agreement-based, aspirations that have performance. But again, back to the heart and the head, challenge yourself to get through things. And simple little concepts like waking up in the morning and say, I get to versus I have to. And I know it might be a little cheesy and sound a little bit like Mr. Rogers, but, no rain, no rainbow. You can't break an egg and make an omelet. So again, I get that there's tough times and hard times, but you really don't be overly reliant on, I'm just going to say it, on others, be that government or institutions or friends and family. So find that harmony, that balance between self-sufficiency and get up and go, and being humble enough to say, hey, I need some help. And that help can today come in the form of good books and materials, and yes, even AI. And I know there's some very concerned folks with AI that it manipulates and it says dumb things and it has young people doing dumb things. I get it, and that's spooky and scary and sad. But, you just got to find that balance between you owning your situation and stepping up and stepping in and doing your best, and being humble enough to say, hey, I need support along the way.
Yeah, definitely. And also, I just wanted to get into some definitions. Might seem kind of elementary, but I just want people that are watching us right now to understand when people say AI and automation, they work together? Or is it that AI is supportive of automation and we'll be looking at more automation than AI? How are we defining the two, or are they synchronized?
Yeah, I think it's probably a good summary, good question. So AI is artificial intelligence, and just for those that have listened and know my story, my last class of college, by the way, Kim, in 1989, I screwed up, failed out of one, finished off DePaul, and graduated, cum laude, I can say. Thanks to, again, some kicks in the butts and some people who supported me and told me to get my act together. But my last two classes were on AI and machine learning. True story. So AI's been around for a while. In fact, I was with IBM when all the Watson came out, and Watson was a computer on Jeopardy. And then, a couple of years ago, ChatGPT did what happens. It commercialized enterprise technology and brought it into our lives. So when it's in the enterprise, it is about efficiency and automation and productivity, right? These corporate jargony words. Mm-hmm. But I'm often reminded of a great there's a burger chain commercial back in the day, famous for their milkshakes, and the video starts off with an assembly line of milkshakes being made, and it's kind of a diss on the big franchises. And then they show somebody making a glorious shake, scooping out the ice cream, the milk, the container, blending it, pouring it. And they look at the camera with these three great shakes, and they go, but when was the last time you had a milkshake and said, that tastes efficient?
Right.
So we want both. We want efficiency, but we want good taste, right? Mm-hmm. We want production, but we want purpose. We want profit, but we want passion. And that's back to AI. We're not going to fight this one, my friend. We're not. Nope. It's above our pay grade, our intellect, and so many other areas, right? So we don't want to either, again, neither a cynic nor an optimist be. We've got to be positive pragmatists. We've got to do our best to get our head around it. Mm-hmm. And yes, understand it's going to drive automation and efficiency. Automation doesn't drive AI per se. It's a mix. And again, don't overthink the engineering or the technology, if you will. Really look at AI as, again, first and foremost, an assistant, an ally, to help you think a little deeper, help you generate a little more confidence, help you get out of your own damn way. I'm one of those people that get in my way more than anything. Right. And just, again, make it an ally, an asset, and keep it in that perspective for most of us. I'm not planning on putting ships on Mars or, getting all techie with AI. I'm just using it really as an ability to automate better, to process better, to produce better, but not to, again, take humans out of the equation. In fact, I actually believe this is now a chance, and one of my moments is on humanization. This is now a chance for us to find time to actually become better people, and upgrade our abilities around behavior and mindset and heart set. So I do
Yeah.
think it's actually an opportunity, not something that could necessarily, make it worse. It can actually make it better.
Yeah. And this is my final question. It's one that I just have to kind of lead into because I think everything rolls right into economy. How am I making the money? But also what has been said with documentaries and different things on just the different levels of people's ability to make the certain money to survive. Because again, your book, Boss Up Moments, which now moments that happen in time, field guide to prosper in business, work, and life. So it leads me to this idea of a caste system that we might fall into, or we're already in it. There will only be high and low, but no in between. I was just wondering when, especially with your book, and that leads me into life, when people really don't feel as though they are going to make it. They don't understand where this technology, they don't understand how they really will even fit in. But they do understand and know how much they bring in each month, each week, what they live on. That leads us to this definition of a caste system. And I was wondering if you had any takes on that, if you really where, like you said, humanization, humans, what's going to happen with this fast track that we're on with technology and people just being able to survive and boss up.
That's a big one, Kim. So, back to this concept of a caste system, I think I know what you're saying. And Darwin famously talked about survival of the fittest. A lot of people mistakenly thought it was survival of the strongest. It's not. Fit means being adaptable, evolving, being in constant pursuit of knowledge and improvement and betterment, right? In fact, in my book, it's very visual, and one of my favorite is on adaption, and it's the picture of a giraffe. How did a giraffe become a giraffe, Kim? Now, obviously, we're selfish appropriately that it's only our life, and we're not going to wait for us, you and me, to become giraffes. But my point is that at least at a minimum, I can't comment on. I have a lot of thoughts around socioeconomics. I'll just say that, and politics. Yes, I get it. But at a minimum, I think the first thing I would ask for everybody is to become humbly self-aware. And actually, a lot of people think this is selfish. It's not. I believe it's selfless. That you've got to assess yourself. You've got to look at what's going on. You got to look at where you want to be and where you want to go. And then thanks to, again, some materials, you need to come up with a plan that's not overly complicated and oh, woe is me, and also doesn't get you overly exuberant, so you end up doing stupid things because you're gonna become a unicorn, right? You got to find that line. But frankly, it starts with yourself being matter of fact, candid, eyes wide open, so to speak, and just saying, hey, I have these skills, this is my DNA, this is my situation, and I want to make it better. And how do I do that? Well, first things first, maybe I need to upgrade some of my perspectives on things. Maybe I need to fine-tune or enhance some of my skills. Maybe I need to spend a few hours every week reading about how to do things better because I can't afford to go somewhere. You follow me? Maybe I need to stop doing some things like blaming a lot of other things. Even though it's true, and I don't deny it, there's a lot of blame that could be, put into the world, but blame in of itself is not going to get you out of your current situation, right?
Right.
And so I believe in the power of journaling. And again, back to good AI, asking it for inputs and opinions on, okay, if this is my situation, this is where I want to go, this is what I make, this is my income, this is my product, this is my life. Give me 3 things I should do today that can make it better. And that could be a blend of, again, self-learning. It could be just thinking about adjacent jobs you can also take on. Again, not forever. Those 2 big words right now are yet. I'm not there yet, and I can get there. And you've probably heard this, right? Just because you succeeded once, that's not going to be there forever. Just because you failed, that doesn't mean that's fatal.
Right.
And so I really think it's incumbent on all of us to ideally nurture and develop and mentor and coach ourselves first and foremost, but others to say, hey, and again, on the other hand, back to what I just hate is when people say, I'm out. I can't do anything about it. It is what it is. I hate that expression. Sorry to say, if anybody uses it, it's lazy, it's mediocre. And yes, I get it that some people are more privileged and blessed than others. There's no doubt about that. But ideally, especially if they're listening to podcasts, Kim, and you're putting good in the world, and I think that manifests other good, people are just going to continue to be better and try their best to find that balance between where they want to be, where they're at, realize that the destination is the journey, and again, make peace, and in fact, not just make peace, but make it your ally, even though you may not like it, and that's AI. That's your current job. That's your income level. And say, I want to get to the next level. Don't try to go 10 levels up. Don't 10x everything. Just say, what if I can make a couple bucks more an hour? What if I knew a little bit more over here? What if I stopped being so, that way? You follow me? And just take steps. We believe it takes about 90 days on average, Kim, to start or stop a habit that either helps you get to the next level or you need to, add it to get to the next level, right? And just work on that. One foot in front of the other. Don't try to overthink it or underthink it.
Yeah. Well, I love this conversation with you, Scott Abbott. Again, the book, Boss-Up Moments, Field Guide to Prosper in Business, Work, and Life. How do we get the book?
Well, speaking of a guy who made pretty good, Mr. Bezos and Amazon. Again, I wish there were bookstores, in down the street. There's just a lot of things that happen that the world's changed. And again, so Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Borders, what have you, but Amazon's probably it. Also, I'm pretty active on Instagram, Scott Abbott ABC. ABC stands for Architect, Builder, Custodian. It's the first 3 moments in the book. And then we've got our website, scottabottabc.com. And you already said it, we've got a great YouTube channel. I put about 75 videos out there, 3 to 5 minute gems and nuggets. So Boss Up with Scott Abbott on YouTube.
Yes, you've helped me, so thank you so much.
Thanks, Kim. I appreciate back to you. I appreciate your show. I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate your purpose, cause, passion. And again, I just hope, and in addition to hope, I do believe in the power of systems and writing things down and journaling and make it tangible, everybody, right? Dreams and goals, without them written and codified on some type of a physical device or manifestation, they often can be forgotten about. And we don't want to do that.
That's right. Thank you again, Scott Abbott. Again, the book is Boss-Up Moments, Field Guide to Prosper in Business, Work, and Life. Thank you so much for being on Enterprising People 702.
Thanks, Kim. Appreciate you.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much. Again, I want to just encourage you, if you like today's show, just subscribe. Just push that little button down there and push subscribe. We'd love to have you. We're going to bring you the best of the best here in the country and even outside the country. People that are mastering business, they're mastering technology, they're mastering just life. And that's what Enterprising People is all about. Because what? You are that enterprising person. Again, live from Las Vegas, Nevada. Thank you, Silver State Smiles, and thank you, too, for being an enterprising person.